Hello, welcome to another episode of Altered Taste Podcast. The Altered Taste Podcast now on a fortnightly format. Keep things crisp, keep things fresh.
Yeah.
So if we had a 4-week break between the one with James.
Yeah.
But here we are now.
We're back.
Yeah, we're back. Yeah, how's it going? Very busy time in the minute for Advanced Performance Evolution.
It is, mate. It's a very busy time.
Which, in case people didn't realise, is what APE stands for.
Yeah.
Yeah, not like the monkey.
Not the monkey. It doesn't get spoke about much, that.
No, it doesn't, no. You kind of left that. You sort of forgot your roots.
Yeah, we were talking about the other day of how we could give it the name of resurgence, but it was kind of just sort of marketing chat that has been put on ice for now. I'm sure.
Who were you talking about that with?
No, it was Izzy's idea, and we were speaking to Anna about it. But it's. I'm sure we'll bring it back in a big way.
You want to see the return of Advanced Performance Evolution?
Well, no, just I don't know, just do something a little bit more with the name. I feel like the name doesn't stand for anything. We kind of give it a little rethink, a little sort of.
Do you remember when they
freshen it up, if you will?
Well, you're going to change the whole name.
No. I don't know, mate.
Did you ever? Do you remember when they changed the name from GIF to SIF? Remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Do you remember when they changed
the name? Quite a big change, that.
Do you remember when do you know what GIF is?
It's a cleaning product.
Yeah, cleaning product. Yeah,
toxic,
don't toxic. Don't use that. What do you use? Ecover, of course.
Yeah, we use. Well, no, for the counter. Izzy actually makes her own concoction that she's bought.
Liver King concoction.
Bottles. Not the Liver King concoction.
Izzy Beresford concoction. What's in it?
I don't know. You'll have to ask her. I think some lemon, some water, vinegar, maybe. I don't know. So.
It's actually a bit of a guilty pleasure of mine, bleach.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I know it's toxic. I know you know, Jenny Goodman.
Do you put
previously in an episode on? No.
I
think, my immune system should be strong enough to be able to deal with it. I'm not drinking the damn stuff,
Well, you may as well be, mate. The skin's an organ,
The skin is the biggest organ on the body. No, but I just quite, the smell of bleach to me smells clean. Now, maybe that's wrong. That's Oprah and condition or something like that, but it feels clean,
Yeah, I think that's conditioning, mate.
If I doused you in bleach.
Yeah. I don't think it'd feel good, especially on the eyes. Feel pretty.
If you had your sensitive areas covered up.
Yeah, I don't think I'd come out of that feeling clean. I feel my gut instincts. I feel I'd come out that feeling burnt.
But do you not know the hydrochloric acid thing is bleach, isn't it? Or it's at least sold as bleach.
Yes. Yeah, it's a cleaning.
I think
product,
it is. Yeah, it's sold as which is actually crazy. That. But yeah, we don't need to. Sorry. Yeah.
Digressing already.
Advanced Performance Evolution. Everything's hotting up, right?
Yeah, we've been busy, man. Been really busy. Main thing's been some retail contacts. I don't want to speak too soon, just in case they don't come off. But some big retail stuff on the horizon. What else? The oysters are out literally within the next couple of weeks.
Oh yeah,
which is good. And what else? Collagen. It's looking like that's going to be out not long
shots?
After. No, not shots, unfortunately. It's going to be
powder.
Collagen powder, yeah. You can add to your coffee or your drink of choice.
Acts as a nice creamer.
Yeah, it does actually act like it's a really nice creamer. I'm gonna give it a test. I've got the final samples this weekend, so I'm gonna give it a good test.
Just quickly, this is just how often do you drink Kratom?
I haven't drunk it in over a month.
You prefer a coffee to a Kratom?
Yeah.
For anyone who doesn't know what Kratom is, it's like a leaf.
Yeah, it's
some description like a tea, like green tea
from Asia. Yeah, it's kind of like it looks like matcha. Really, it's like a green powder,
but banned.
I don't know if it's banned.
No, it is banned.
Oh, is it? It's banned.
It's banned for sale. But it's one of those weird. It's one of those things that it's like as a novel food, maybe novel food. So is that the right expression?
Yeah, it could. Well, it could fall. I don't know that much about Kratom, to be honest, but it could fall under the Novel Food Act. Is basically, I can't remember what year it was brought into the UK, but it basically just said if something wasn't classed as a food before this date, then it needs to go through a review process where it's like judged by courts and stuff like that to be able to be made a food.
Yeah.
So it could be a novel food. I don't know.
So what a dumb system. Sorry, like, but it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't.
Why that date? And also, what if something, we need to pass it? Like, what rigorous testing is passed through? Sure, what should be the test if someone's food? If someone's a food, I suppose anything could be food as long as it doesn't poison you. I suppose.
Yeah.
Like, it's actually quite a weird question, quite deep.
So the reason I know about it is because those ketone esters, they are they're a novel food. So I think they've been trying to get those passed as a food for ages. You can't sell those in the UK, although loads of people do.
No, but I heard a weird. Is that where I suppose you can sell things as something which it isn't supposed to be? Do you remember when we'd have been at school? We'd have been in like year 12. And methadone, the drug, was legal for a period. Do you remember that?
Is methadone MCAT?
MCAT, yeah.
Yeah.
When it was like when they sold.
It was a plant fertilizer, wasn't it?
Yeah, well, it was sold as fertilizer. But obviously, it isn't a plant fertilizer, and how kids would be doing it at school, and the teacher could confiscate it, but had to give it back to them at the end of the day. Yeah,
I don't see that wasn't a. Well, as far as I was aware, that wasn't a thing at my school. But yeah, I've heard about it.
Well, yeah, but then they got the bill passed on that pretty quick to stop them selling that in shops. Yeah. They haven't got it passed very quickly for ketone esters.
No,
but it's weird with ketone. Is ketone salts or ketone or whatever? Because I remember I've spoken to you about it, and you're saying they work and your ketone levels are way higher after taking them and stuff like that. And I've heard other people I've spoken to, like nutritionists and stuff like that, say it's just complete bollocks. And that's probably more the salts, so I think.
Well, so the esters, so the difference is the ketone salts, I don't know like the scientific strip, but they bind the ketones to, I think it's sodium, potassium, magnesium or calcium.
Yeah.
And then it creates like a salt, so it's like a powder you can add to your drinks or whatever. Then the esters are like, they almost come in like little shot glasses, or not like shot bottles.
Tastes awful, apparently.
You know, like the £5 bottles of vodka that you used to get at the supermarket. They fit in your jean back pocket perfectly.
Little, what's that called? Little half nine. That's called.
I don't know.
Half jack.
No, actually,
half jack. It's called a half jack.
More like even smaller than that. They're like the little bottles of alcohol you get on the plane.
Yeah. You know, so it's not a half jack. It's half a half jack.
Yeah, it's a quarter jack. It's it's like those. It comes in like bottles those size, and you slam those, and they apparently, I've never tried them. They make your ketones go like through the roof. But with the ketone salts, I can attest they work because I've tested my ketones, taken them, tested my ketones again. Using a blood glucose monitor.
Which you urinate on?
No. I had a finger prick one actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, you can give it a go. I've got it here if you want after.
Have you got the salts?
Yeah, I've got it all here. If you want, we can do it. We could report back.
We could report they do work.
We could do a scientific experiment.
So you got given the salts?
I know. I bought the salts just because I was interested in seeing what they were like. Bought the salts. I had the ketone and the blood glucose monitor and stuff from when I was like intensely doing the keto diet like a few years ago. And yeah, I tested my ketones, drank the salts, tested them again, and they went up loads. So
they went up like what? Like it couldn't have been just by chance.
Oh no way. So when my personal experience, when you were in like deep ketosis naturally through diet, my ketone levels were somewhere between 0.5 and 1. And when I took the salts, they were like 3 point something.
Yeah.
So it was like a big difference.
It actually kind of reminds me of something that happened a couple of years when we were in the initial lockdown, 2020, March, springtime, you remember. And I sort of, I had a crack at the keto, doing keto.
Yeah.
And fasted and all that jazz and tried proper hard at it. I remember I went out to the shop when they opened again and bought some of those little strips. Like, do you piss on them?
Yeah.
And it goes like purple if you are in ketosis, and I remember I pissed on it and it didn't change colour. And that's when I first messaged you about ketone salts, because I was like, I've been doing it for a long time and I'm not even. It didn't change. The only colour that it changed was it got wet from urine. It didn't. It didn't change colour at all.
Yeah.
So I thought,
So how intent? You've got to be doing it like proper strict.
You think I'm mucking around? I did. No, but maybe it wasn't. Maybe I was.
Yeah.
No cheat meals.
Yeah. No, but like, were you eating any carbs whatsoever?
rye bread, occasional probably,
Yeah, it's gonna throw you out.
You said it's nothing. It's nothing. It's nothing for 10 days, right?
You got to be under like 50 grams of carbs a day. Really.
When everyone said right, you say 50 grams. How much is? I think they should just.
It's not a lot.
Just say like a handful of. How much is a handful of?
A piece of rye bread is going to be like. We're going to be boring people to death here. It's like 35 grams of carbs, probably a piece of rye bread.
How much is a cup of rice?
I don't know. A lot. 50. Probably about 50. I don't know, mate.
Yeah. No, here's what I wanted to ask you, because I went back to London last weekend and I was getting on the train. It was a packed train Monday. I don't know why. It was heaving. If you go on a train, you can't sit down, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So loads of people eating like food, like stinky food.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, like, it's not really on that.
What stinky food?
Eating it. What's your opinion on eating in public spaces?
I think it's. It depends. It really depends on the proximity, the sort of stankiness of the food.
Well, a train, Great Western Rail,
where it's packed.
It was big. There was no seats, and I was sat next to the toilet for a while.
Well, that's not a fun journey. That is it. Well, tell me, give me a scenario. What food?
So there was a lot of Burger King. There was a lot of like hot paninis.
Yeah.
There was like maybe a hot New Yorker, maybe with Emmental, pastrami, and gherkin. Sauerkraut. Delicious.
I don't think I could eat that and enjoy that. If I'm like crammed close to someone and I'm like trying to eat a burger or a panini, I just feel I wouldn't enjoy it.
So you don't eat cold food, is that what you're saying? A guy was eating a burrito from Leon.
Yeah.
You know Leon, the place that...
Yeah, I know.
He had a big foil-packed burrito with like rice dropping on the backs of his fingers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Loads of people were eating like quite hearty meals. And it smelt very, very strongly. It was quite hot as well in there.
Yeah, I don't agree. I'm a no on that.
Really?
Yeah. Why, you were yes? You think?
No, I'm very obviously anti it. And I thought it was just, but when we were at school, it's posh school, we always got told don't eat on like the streets. And I always used to think it was because like people like muggers would think you were rich. And they come and try and steal from you. But now I realise it's probably because like it's a manners thing maybe. I'm not too sure.
Yeah, I don't get that. Don't eat on the streets.
It wasn't like don't eat on the streets, like don't eat outside. And I just never. It was just kind of a rule they didn't like. But if there was always like a teacher, like maybe litter. Yeah, that's a good idea.
Yeah, probably.
There'd be a teacher waiting on the gate, and he or she would always say, like, put that food away, and then you just like put it in your pocket and just go back to eating it, resume eating it about 10 meters down the road. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then, maybe it is because of litter.
Bit of a weird rule, right? So my question for you, actually, we haven't done your. How's your rehab and stuff going?
No, it's good. Yeah, we'll touch wood. Everything's. Well, we got a game this Sunday against Sale. This might come out after that, so I'm on the bench.
How are you feeling for it? You good?
Good, yeah, good. Yeah, excited to get sort of back up and going. It's quite a weird thing. You go from being completely out to training full in the team. Touch wood if you get picked, like quite quickly. So 2 weeks ago, I wasn't really with the squad at all, just doing rehab. I'd see the lads have food with them and that kind of thing, but I'd be doing all my own stuff in the gym, outside running sessions, blah, blah, 1 week's full training, then everything changes very quickly.
It's been 12 weeks total recovery.
Today, yeah, 12 weeks today I had the op. So it was Friday the 17th of December since I had it.
You're like on track. That's kind of the prediction.
Yeah, that's what he said. It could have probably pushed it last week, but it's still, I think there's a lot of scar tissue around it still, and I think it's weird because even last week I landed on it funny a couple of times. It felt a bit like nervy. But now I think because this week I've known that, it's imminent, playing and that kind of stuff, you don't really notice it during training. I think your mind just gets...
Yeah.
Because that is... people can... You say that like the whole placebo effect and stuff like that, but people's minds, if you don't believe you're injured, you don't believe you're ill, you can crack on. I always find that, and I actually think a lot of the time if people have these tests which say they're ill, a lot of the time your body will react into being sick, you know what I mean? Because at the end of last season, finished playing, and I've got a massive tangent here, sorry, but where it finished playing, and as soon as, I think after you've been in these real high stress situations, your body can finish, it can kind of like have this purge, and you can either leave England camp or finish a season or finish something which is very high stress, and your body goes into this, like, has this reaction to it, which makes it come out in like illness sometimes.
Yeah. Well, you see it with people when it's like, I remember that at school, when you be leading up to exams.
Yeah.
And before exams, you'd be, it's like a high stress state. And then once you get it, but there's something amazing about the psychology where you literally make it to the day after, and then it's like you just crash.
Yeah. And I think people, whatever their weak link in the chain is where their sickness will come out. So, and I think one time, your body's almost got like these circuit boards, and once it flips, once it's gone, it will keep going easier and easier. Because remember, I got tonsillitis once in a similar thing. I kind of stressed out tonsillitis. I had to go home, and then whenever I started feeling like I was coming down with stuff, my tonsils would always get like real sore.
Yeah, I have the same thing with my neck, man. Like whenever we have, like this week, it's been a really busy week, and like stress is high, and then I'll just do something in the gym and I'll twinge my neck. Every time it'll be a neck twinge, and it's just, I know when like I'm pushing it, that's a surefire way I know I need to pull it back. Or I've pushed it a bit too far, because I'll be like, oh, my neck's not feeling great.
And it's just because the inflammation in your body has just caused that weak point to basically have a reaction.
Yeah, I heard, so I can't remember who said this, hopefully, if I remember, I'll put it in the show notes, but they were just talking about like how neural pathways in your brain, and they gave the analogy of say like a jungle, and an elephant's made a pathway through the jungle, and then it makes that pathway so much easier, so like all the other animals kind of like use that pathway. And it's the same thing with in your body with like, you know, these sorts of injuries, which it's like you say, it's the weak link in the chain, so that'll always flare up. And then it's the same thing with habits, man. It's like when you've got those neural pathways in your brain, and then it's so easy to like relapse if you're not very conscious of like trying to break a habit or whatever. It's so easy to relapse into that because you've done it, you've greased that groove so many times.
It's actually when you speak about the habit stuff, it's I really resonate with that, because it's the path of least resistance. And I think a lot of time, especially as guys, I think because there's this idea that you have to be kind of macho and you know don't show weakness and don't relent, and if you make a point, you have to stick by it, otherwise everyone's going to think you're a pussy, basically.
Yeah.
That you have these neural pathways, and sometimes you feel like righteous in the fact that you feel that way, even though it's completely wrong.
Yeah.
So a lot of the time, the vices that especially men have are just weak pathways you have, that they get confronted with certain situations, and you either go to anger or go to jealousy or go to, you know, being annoyed.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of the time it is actually just you're the issue. You're the one who needs to change the way you look at it.
Yeah, for sure. I think anger is a really good example of that with blokes.
It's a vice, mate. It's a vice. Anger, it's seen as there's a difference between strength and anger, and I do feel that's becomes very sort of blurred about where that, you know, you can be strong and kind of stoic without just being an angry bastard.
Oh yeah, for sure. And like a lot of the time, people will act angry, and I've been, I've experienced this myself, like where you have a situation and, you know, your ego will get bruised, or maybe you'll feel embarrassed or something, and you're like, oh, I'm not feeling right. But you're like, oh, I don't want people to see that I'm not feeling right. So you just front anger, because you're like, oh, well, I'd prefer to think people to think I'm angry than anything else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's just a complete kind of shadow way of being, but once you become conscious of it, you can like kind of work through those scenarios.
But even when like you try and, because there's stuff that, you know, you and I, everyone really probably has worked through to think like private things in their life that you want to improve about yourself and that, and it's not really public consumption. But even when you're really actively trying to stop behaving in a particular way, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like it's difficult, because your brain will always try and find that, or not always, for a long time afterwards, will try and find that easiest, and then once you're back on the path, you know, it perpetuates itself.
Yeah. Well, true change requires energy. It requires a lot of energy to change. Like and the thing is, if you think about how important being able to act unconsciously as human beings is, imagine if you had to think about every single thing you were doing throughout the day. You had to really think about getting dressed in the morning. You have to really think about tying your shoelaces. You know, the day you'd be out of energy before you even got going.
Yeah, you would.
So we've got these built-in unconscious behaviors, which in a lot of situations they actually help us, you know, go about our day and do stuff. Think about how many times you drive and you're completely unconscious.
Yeah.
Right?
You come to your destination, you're like, where did all that time just go? In fact, speaking about this, have you ever seen the film The Father?
No.
Good film. Anthony Hopkins is in it, and he plays a guy who's got Alzheimer's. but it's done from his perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So he basically is the dad of this woman who Olivia Colman. It's that's Sophie from Peep Show.
Oh yeah,
she's his daughter. Anthony Hopkins is Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah.
So like
great actress.
Yeah, it is.
Partnership
Yeah, honestly, would highly recommend.
Yeah,
but it's done from his point of view as the Alzheimer's patient, and you end up with the film having no idea what's going on, and it's like, what's that got to do with what we're just talking about?
I was saying that change requires energy.
Yeah, and I can't. It was making me feel like I can't. Do you think there's any way of comparably thinking about these kind of like degenerative neurological disorders? Is there any? Do you think when you're inside that state of mind, do you have moments of clarity where you know something's not right with you, or do you feel you sort of just stumble? Have you ever had any experience in it yourself of knowing anyone who's?
Yeah. So yeah, my nan had Alzheimer's, and the mad thing about that was we didn't really know. I was like quite young at the time, and if I would have known what I would have known now, I think I would have been able to work out what's going on. But we were never, we would just kind of, so it was like a series of like health complications which led to it, and we were never really told what she had going on with her. Like, it was never really diagnosed, and my family didn't really know how to deal with it, so we just kind of dealt with it the best way we could. But it's kind of amazing to see, because you'd be having like a conversation and around the table, and she'd be sat there, and then she'd chime in to the conversation on something that had been spoken about 5 minutes ago. She'd be like
really?
5 minutes behind, and then I would just, or like whoever was chatting, we just pick the conversation back up there, because then she'd be like involved in the conversation, and then she'd probably just fade out of it and she'd come back in. But yeah, like we didn't really know what was going on or like anything. And yeah, it's a hard thing to see a family member go through, for sure. It's like really hard. But the brain, from my experience with it, it's like the brain is just not working anywhere near like normal, so it's it is really hard to relate, and it's like hard to, and I'm sure there's probably a lot of experts out there that have really good understanding of this, but it's like hard to recognize patterns of what's going on, so like to adjust to it. But yeah, it's really
did she know that her brain wasn't working as it should do, or was it?
I don't think so. You're
kind of ignorant to the fact that there's something not quite right.
Yeah. She was just like a bit out of it, basically, just like working on operating on another frequency.
Because it's just it's proper sad, and it's become like a real staple of like the more senior people's lives, doesn't it? Really?
Yeah. Well, it's become.
It seems to anyway. It seems that it's the same thing that James spoke about with cancer last week. Is like, it seems like basically 50% of, you're lucky if you're an old person and you haven't had some sort of neurological dysfunction, basically.
Well, there's so many chronic diseases, right? So many people suffering with cardiovascular disease, cancer, these neurodegenerative diseases as well. They're becoming way, way more common. And I just don't understand how the mainstream aren't connecting the dots between, diet and lifestyle factors today, and, the rates of disease going through the roof. And like, because I always remember the Bake Off show, right? Because that's one of the things they do, the Bake Off for Stand Up for Cancer.
Oh, is it like a 1 week, or is it all?
It's like with celebrities, or I don't know exactly how they do
the Celeb Bake Off.
Yeah, but it's like it's not the standard one they do, like every now and again, whatever. And they always say on that, like 1 in 2. I don't even like saying it, because it's like, I feel like it's predictive programming at a certain level. But they always say like 1 in 2 people will get cancer in their lifetime, and I think that's nuts. I remember seeing it years and years ago, and they might have used to say like 1 in 4, or they might have used to even say 1 in 8, and it's like now within the space of maximum 10 years is now down to 1 in 2.
Yeah,
it's mad, man. Something's got to change for sure. But that's like it's one of the cool things through running Ape and interacting with people online, and I realize I only get to see into like a small proportion of the population, but so many people that are starting to take real sovereignty over their health, and realizing that you know, when it comes to this stuff, there's no mummy and daddy to look after you and tell you what to eat and how to behave and stuff. It's like you're okay, right? I'm starting to work it out for themselves, and there's a lot of good people out there putting out good information. People are working it out, taking their health into their own hands.
But that's the positive thing about the internet, I guess. You know, we rag on a lot of the stuff the whole time, but it's given an avenue for people who don't necessarily want to follow the beaten track. You have this whole, you have a resource available to you for free, which you can use, and there is no reason why, you know, or in very special circumstances, you can't get on a computer or you don't have internet or whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of people do have it, and you can make a living, you know, however you see fit.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, man, seeing how, like, how people are starting to be able to generate or, like, follow their dream through running an online business.
Yeah.
And also having that business towards gearing, helping people, you know.
More about like the sort of the women who do dances and
and that, mate,
and show videos of them cooking salmon and rice, and they make
great, mate.
What about the guy who rates toys,
mate? So what we watched the other day, that program on YouTube I put on when you were over the other night, Chicken Shop Date.
Oh yeah,
and that girl, she made an amazing career out of doing awkward dates in chicken shops around London.
Yeah, and the Chicken Connoisseur. You seen the Chicken Connoisseur?
No.
Well, he's a guy who grades chicken shops.
Oh really?
Yeah, he has a strip burger, chips, and 3 wings, I think, and from all these places. And it's quite big. I'm sure you would have seen it.
I don't know, but in fact, I would love to know how much money they generate and like how they monetize that, because obviously you can once you've got a YouTube channel, you can actually monetize it in terms of when you get an X amount of views, YouTube pay you, and then I think that's if you allow ads to be on your videos, right? But then on top of that, people start selling merch and etc.
So then sometimes they get demonetized.
Yeah.
Which brings
Oh yeah, nice. I like that. I like how you did that.
So if you get demonetized, do they say effectively stop talking about what you're talking about? Otherwise, we're going to stop funding your views.
So I'm not 100% sure on this, but I know they can demonetize certain videos. So it's like I think you can have a channel where you've got videos which you're earning money off, but then you'll have certain videos which go against the policies of YouTube.
Yeah.
And because of that, those certain videos will be demonetized, so you can't actually earn any money off them. And then I suppose that could be it might get to the point where they delete your whole chat. But I told you the story with Sean Atwood and how he got his YouTube channel deleted. Well, he got it taken down. He had 3 strikes overnight. Have I told you about this?
In one go, we did speak about. I can't remember though. Really.
So Sean Atwood, for anyone that doesn't know, he's got a crazy story. He's
cool guy.
Really cool guy. He's like an activist now. He's a British activist, but back in the day, he ran a bit of a drug empire, I think, in the States, and he got locked up. He did time in prison, and he started a YouTube channel basically off telling his prison stories.
Yeah.
And then he turned into like a British activist, but and he does interviews and all sorts now. But he's got like a big YouTube channel, and he got 3. So he said he was like working away in the evening, and he got an email, 1 strike through from YouTube. He thought, this is weird. Like, I've never had a strike before.
Yeah.
And it's like a 3 strikes and out system. So I don't think he thought much of it, and he just went to bed. And he woke up in the morning, he'd had 2 more strikes, YouTube channel gone. He's got like a team, he's got like hundreds of thousands of subs on YouTube. Like, he's got a whole team of people he probably pays to like help him edit and do all that sort of shit. So he obviously panicking. It's like, that's his livelihood, his YouTube channel. So he got a team of lawyers in, they're like combing through all the YouTube policies, because we can talk about this. So Ape currently is banned off advertising on Facebook.
Yeah.
And I'll bring this back round how it relates to Sean Atwood now. But when we got banned and you contest it, obviously, 'cause you're like, right, we want to be able to advertise.
Yeah, of course.
It was working quite well for us. And when you contest it, it's like a bit of a robotic system. It's really hard to get through to speak to someone.
Very convoluted.
On a chat. Never mind, you can't. I don't think we ever managed to speak to anyone on the phone.
Did you ever try?
Yeah, so you go through, the classic. You go onto the website, it's like, troubleshoot your problem. It gives you like 10 categories. You pick the category, you go down, and then it just sends you to an article, and you end up going through this maze of trying to find the contact number. Well, Facebook's is like that, but like times 10. It's like it's the ultimate maze. It's the, what's that program? The maze
Pan's Labyrinth.
It's Pan's Labyrinth. So, but then when you finally get to the center, which is a little chat box to someone, and they basically the most unhelpful customer service staff ever, and then every time we managed to get through to them, which was, you know, it's been years now. It's been like over a year we've been banned, and it must have got through to them, you know, I don't know, tens of times.
Really?
Yeah. Because at one point I was like, when it first happened, it made a huge dent into our income.
Because you were getting loads of stuff through Facebook, right?
Yeah, we were making quite a lot of sales. It was starting to get, and it was getting better. It was like the algorithm was optimizing our ads all the time, so it was getting better and better. I was like, it was my number one priority to get us unblocked until I realized it was just completely futile. But yeah, so we where was I? So yeah, when you get to the bottom of it, you get through to someone, they just send you a policies document, which is like, you violated one of these policies.
And how long is it?
It's massive, mate. It's like 30 pages, and it's like a legal document you ever read, like a fucking contract.
It's like legalese. It's a lot of small print, all small print.
Yeah, it's all, and it's just like one of those things that gives you a headache before you even like got halfway down the first page. And you're like thinking, how on earth am I like, you know, like supposed to do this? So anyway, Sean Atwood, I think, got like lawyers in and stuff to review, and they kind of thought they knew where they'd violated policies, but he said he was like pulling his hair out of it, and he ended up going, you know, fuck this, and he just drove to London and to the YouTube headquarters, and he said he like walked in, he hadn't slept for like 48 hours because he was just so stressed out about the situation, and he's quite eccentric as it is, right? Yeah. So you can imagine him off like no sleep. And he's gone and he said he starts speaking to the security guard, and he said she was being like really understanding, really kind, and he's like thinking, okay, thank God, like I'm here now, we're gonna get it all sorted out. And he said she just wanders over to the like head desk, and she just comes back to him, she hands him a business card, she's like, you can contact them here, and it's just got the YouTube logo on one side, and he said he turned it over and it was just a youtube.com/help or something on the back. And you can imagine, mate, that would have been like some people.
Well, you reckon she went to the desk and they're like, yeah, just get rid of it.
Yeah, like, give him one of these cards. But he ended up managing to sort it out and getting his.
That's why I don't understand how. So with his channels, like, it does some pretty hard hitting shit.
Yeah.
How's his getting reinstated and yours isn't? Is it because he's got lawyers involved?
I think so. How he got it back in was the internet just went a bit mad for him, so he used his Twitter to get people to like, you know, hashtag YouTube Sean Atwood or whatever, and basically demand for his. So someone within YouTube picked up on it and personally reviewed his case, and then decided, and he had to remove. I think they gave him like a second chance effectively, and they gave him a load of rules that he had to abide by. So he went and removed shit ton of his videos off YouTube, and then he's very careful to abide by those rules, so he doesn't
basically abide by the algorithm.
Yeah, he doesn't piss him off anymore and get his channel removed. Which is, it's like a weird place to be in, right? Because you think you kind of think when you watch stuff on YouTube, it's like you think it's free speech, right? But effectively, if someone's being cornered in that way and only able to say certain stuff, then it's not free speech.
Well, of course, it definitely isn't. Like,
yeah.
Which is, I don't know, it's a real weird kind of paradigm at the minute. Because obviously the current thing that's happening at the minute is Rogan.
Yeah. You
know, which would be the example that everyone would use.
Yeah.
Which just is, you know, what it looks like from the outside is he's pissed someone off, who's high up, or the higher ups, and he's and someone's trying to get him taken down or cancelled or whatever. But just it almost feels like he can't just get removed because he's too big to take down, almost. Because he'd be bigger than any media outlet, I'd say.
Yeah, well, I've seen, and I don't know how much truth there is to this, but I've heard people talk on it and say he gets more views than like, you know, a lot of the big like Fox, CNN combined. You know, he's getting more downloads than these people are getting views. And then I also heard someone say, and God knows how much truth there is to any of this, but someone said like he brings in like a week's worth of podcasts, him releasing a week's worth of podcasts, which might be like 2, 3, 4 episodes maybe max.
Yeah.
Is the same in terms of like viewership and eyes on the platform for Spotify is when Taylor Swift releases an album.
Really?
Which is like, you imagine it's crazy. It must be crazy numbers. Yeah, and he's doing that every week.
So here's a question. Do you think if he commentated UFC, he'd get booed or cheered?
He's going to get cheered, man. I think.
Yeah, I agree. I completely 100% agree. It's just, it seems weird. It seems there's a very outspoken minority who are against him.
Mm.
But the majority of people who actually listen to it and see or the and you can never say this with total certainty, but the view he's putting out to the world, or that I've seen from listening to him, is he's kind of a stand-up guy.
Yeah.
Working class dude. Like, he's made this unbelievable sort of like life for himself, I guess.
Yeah.
Which is what a lot of people relate to, I think, in a way.
Yeah.
Because he just seems a guy who's worked really hard and honed his craft.
Yeah.
And he's very authentic from what it seems, and people want to listen to him.
Yeah.
Which you can't really fake. And I feel like people are trying to shoehorn him as this really bad dude, or this, you know, I don't know, this bigot, which I don't think he is.
No, I don't think so at all. Like you said,
well, he isn't. Like, there's no getting around. He isn't.
Yeah, he isn't. And the thing is, it's like, well, there's a number of factors, right? One, whoever made that compilation clip of him saying the N-word, right, is taking everything he said out of context. Now, I'm not condoning that at all, right? Yeah. And he even came out himself and he said, apologized for it, made a mistake. But you can't just like take... Context is so important when it comes to conversations, right? So it's like, it's so easy to make someone look bad if you just take everything they say out of context. You can just make a compilation, make, you know, pretty much anyone look like an idiot. And you see this with those reality TV shows and stuff. Like, people always complaining, oh, that's not what I'm like. And it's just because they can, you know, if they edit it, like, everyone says stupid shit now and again. Everyone does stupid stuff. People get angry. You know, we're all human beings, right? You behave in a way now and again, everyone does, where you maybe you're not proud of it. And if you've got a camera on you 24/7, or in Joe Rogan's case, a lot of the time, you can easily cherry pick those moments where that person isn't behaving like the highest version of themselves and make them look like a dickhead. You know, he's got almost 1,800 episodes of podcasts, some of which are like 4 hours long, a lot of which are like 3 hours long. That's God knows how many hours of footage. So, you know, if you got someone to be able to comb through that, of course you can make him look like a dickhead.
Which is why I actually disagree with this, because there's quite a lot of surveillance and stuff, especially on smartphones and computers, and everyone has so many devices now.
Yeah.
That you're heavily monitored, you know, in what, which is actually quite a disconcerting thought, that somebody ultimately can, unless you go totally flip phone off grid, you know, out in the hills with the farmers.
Yeah.
You can't with a satellite phone. It's very difficult to. Well, you would find, especially, you know, you've had a brush in with it, even you know, inadvertently with the Facebook moderators or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, when people go, oh, you know, if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear, which is a classic line you hear back. Oh, you know, or if you're not doing anything that's bad, then you shouldn't feel, you know, bad about anything. Do you know what I mean? If you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. Think how dumb that is. Everyone, like, if you went through someone's phone, whoever it was, you'd find something that was like incriminating or bad.
Yeah.
Anyone.
Yeah.
Like, and I actually, that's a Pepsi challenge for anyone if they want to do it. Mate, there's no one is like, you would find something.
It's like, especially like, well, I don't know, I can't speak for, but like guys from like our background, if you've been on a rugby WhatsApp group or something like that, it's chaos, right? It's absolute, like.
But I do think it's been reined in. It's been reined in a lot, because I think I think people are more aware of what is, because there is, you know, as there is with everything, there's some, you know, in some stuff that you disagree with, there's going to be some stuff that is true and is right, and there's some, probably there are people that were online posting stuff which did go too far, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Which I do actually agree with, that it shouldn't really be done, and it's unfair if images are getting shared, especially of people that you don't want to be shared and that kind of stuff. And like,
of course, when
all the stuff, do you remember like the fappening and all that stuff was happening?
I don't, but
it was like when like all these women's phones got hacked into.
Oh yeah. I just didn't know it was called that. Yeah,
it was called like it was all these women's, basically all their personal clouds got hacked into and their stuff got posted online. Yeah. and it's not that's just not really on, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's fucked up.
But at the same time, that doesn't mean we should have total surveillance on all of our phones the entire time.
Exactly. And what I find is just, I feel like it's such a double standard, because we were talking about earlier, like Russell Brand did that video the other day where he was talking about someone asked for data from the CDC or whatever, and they sent the data in, but a huge proportion of the document was redacted. Well, it's like, surely if there's total surveillance, it should be two-way total surveillance. You know what I mean?
I can look at just like, it's proper like sat in a big blacked out Beamer. It's like they can see out looking at you on the side of the street. And with your todger in your hand, but you can't see inside their armoured vehicle.
You try to hide it. They're like, "What you got to hide, son?
You got nothing to fear if you're nothing to hide." That is
like, can I see in that car then? No, you can't see it here.
This is sensitive. But that's what
this is for your protection. We're in here.
I mean, that's proper 1984 shit. That proper. Yeah. If you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. Well, that's everyone then.
Yeah.
And eventually, it eats itself. It's like a monster that eats itself.
It is.
Because everyone has got skellies in the closet. Every single person on the planet has got something somewhere down the line that they're not particularly, whoever you are. You could be a nun over in, I don't know, some sort of missionary area.
It's probably why they're over there.
Yeah, that's why they're running away from their checkered history. But anyway, we'll talk about Rogan, UFC. We got UFC this weekend.
Yeah, it was before we go into the UFC. I've got my question for you.
Yeah.
Right. So just a little thought. So I'm rereading a book called The Island by Aldous Huxley. It's the one with the
we spoke
Here and Now Boys. That one.
Yeah, which I thought was the.
You thought it was Eckhart Tolle.
Yeah, Eckhart Tolle / Tolle.
So they live on this island called Parla, which is like kind of like a, I don't know. They've broken off from the world. They've created their own society, and it's kind of like built on like kind of like more like spiritual values. Anyway, so one of their rules on the island is that the wealthiest person can only earn 5 times the average wage. So what do you reckon the average wage is in the UK?
25 grand.
So say it's 25 grand, yeah. So then
25, 30k, something like that.
Okay, so say it's 30k, right? So if it's 30k, that means the wealthiest individual can earn 150k a year. That's the max, right?
Yeah. What's
your thoughts on that as a policy?
I don't agree with it.
Yeah, I knew you wouldn't agree with it.
No, but at the same time, I think if you had something like that in place, it probably would stop inflation. Well, to the degree it's going on now, and I don't really Alec here really to talk about all this inflation and that kind of stuff, but I don't really know much about it. But all I know is, I see the petrol stations and I see the price of eggs, and I know that I can't get as much for my money as I could do back in the day.
Yeah,
we used to go down. We never go there now, of course, but Farm Foods and buy eggs.
Yeah.
You get 30 for 99p.
Is it uni, this is?
Yeah.
30 for 99p?
I think it's on that, yeah.
No way.
Where they were bad quality. Yeah, there was no distinguishable difference between the yolk and the white.
Oh, really?
What?
That's pretty horrendous, man. A lot of bad juju.
Did you used to eat eggs like that, though?
Well, not from Farm Foods, but yeah, before, when you're at uni, I was just kind of, it was, what, you walk into Sainsbury's and just, you buy the cheapest stuff, right? That's
of course, yeah, the chicken that smells like rotten eggs.
A lot of hot chicken from behind the counter.
Oh, yeah.
What I was saying, on the 150 grand thing, right, my thoughts on it is interesting because if you go, like, the difference between earning 30 and 150 is quite a big difference, right? Yeah. So it's still enough of a difference there for people to be really motivated to like climb to the top of their field, because it's not like, it's not like the biggest difference is 30 to 50, which maybe isn't the biggest, and there's no noticeable difference there.
Yeah.
Or not as much. But at the same time, it's like, well, if you think about like all the wealthiest people in the UK, if they only had 150 grand a year, and you think about all the money that would be in circulation because of that, maybe, I don't know, just this.
Well, what do you mean in circulation? Where does?
Well, just like if you didn't have these ultra rich if in that scenario you didn't have ultra rich people, then all of a sudden you've got a load of money which maybe isn't then being like printed by the banks, like you said. So it doesn't, inflation doesn't happen, and you'd have more money like generally in circulation to, I don't know, give to hospitals and schools and making sure just like general wear and tear is sorted out, you know, potholes.
It's sort of
that sort of thing.
I don't
just thought it was an interesting concept.
No, it is an interesting point. I don't. It's sort of from a more like principled point of view. My angle is just less regulation, the better.
Yeah.
I think people, if you leave them alone, are for the most part. Yeah.
Some exceptions.
Yeah, there are some serious exceptions. For the most part, if you just leave them alone, are fine.
You know,
and they don't need to be told what to do, or they don't need someone to try and keep them safe, and they don't need someone to just if you leave people just to deal with each other, and that's what, because with the whole bartering thing is very difficult. Say you had a load of Brussels sprouts and I had some oil, so how many Brussels sprouts goes to how much oil, and what if we want to trade all that in for a goat? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
you have the currency there to act as an agreed upon means that you can all trade with.
Yeah.
But just leave people alone. You don't need, and that's what I think, that telling people how much they can earn, it's just too much regulation.
Yeah, no, I get that. I like the angle you've come from.
Yeah, but at the same time, these people at the top kind of sort of rigging the game. Yeah. So if it's a chess game, it's like the sort of the low people who are further down the ladder aren't even pawns on the game. They're like just the board getting walked on.
Yeah.
And these people have got every single piece, and they're all queens.
Yeah.
The best piece in the chess is the queen.
Mate, you know, I got to go back. You know, when you talk about that example, you say, you know, in most cases, right, people left by themselves would do well. Whenever anyone says anything like that, I always think of, have you seen Louis Theroux, the episode where he goes to the prisons and he like sits with the people on death row?
Oh yeah, I'm serving 600 years and 10 life sentences. Those kind of people. Yeah, no, I'm not.
There's one guy in there that's just like, Louis interviewing him, and he's just like, "Have you got any remorse?" He's like, "No remorse." He's just like, just so. And I always think of that guy. Anyway.
No, but they are though. Yeah, they're like, yeah. There's people who are serving about 800 years in prison.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are the exception. I'm not saying it's the same for, and there are just the same thing we were talking about health earlier. There's people who are going to live these incredibly healthy lifestyles. They're going to eat well. They're not going to be too stressed. They're going to have jobs they really enjoy, and they're going to get seriously bad illnesses. And there are going to be outliers like that.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I think for the most people, if you look after yourself and if you're left alone, most of the time you'll be all right.
Yeah.
Because most people don't want to have an issue with everyone. You know. I think there's actually a dude today in a sauna, and I was like, "Why are you so mad? Why are you so angry?"
Yeah.
Let me tell you the how this went down. Right, I was sat top level of the sauna. You know how it's hotter in the top level of the sauna, right?
Of course, yeah.
So he walks in there, and I could tell already this guy's demeanour that he was angry at something.
You know when you can feel someone's pissed off, like they're carrying that aura of just annoyance with them.
Yeah, and obviously, you know, humans can pick. We're told not to trust your gut, but do trust your gut.
Always trust your gut.
Trust your gut. So he walks in, 2 massive ladles on the stones, and it was already quite hot in there, and it was so hot it started burning my ears.
Is that allowed though? If you come into the sauna, did he consult you?
No, there was no consultation.
Was there anyone else in there?
Sorry, no, it's just me.
Just you,
mate. It was hot, mate. I was beading.
You should ask someone, right, when you come into the sauna.
Of course. Oh, I've got another point as well, health spa related.
Yeah.
After this, don't remind me about that. Sorry. So I'm sat top bins. It's hot enough as it is. You're looking around 90. It was warm.
Yeah.
Comes in, ladles 2 on, and it's like so hot. My eyes feel like they're like on fire. My ears start physically hurting. I'm like this. My hands over my ears. And he sat down on the bottom level, by the way, so we can barely feel it. And then
How many levels?
And he sat there. There's 2 levels.
Okay. He
turns around to me and he goes, "You play for Chiefs end here?" And I was like, yeah. What? And he like shouted. I think he was hard of hearing.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I'm just going to leave this conversation. And then he just spits on the floor.
Mate. This bloke had an entity attachment.
Yeah, no. And then he left. And he left after about a minute. Made the place unbearably hot, and then walked out of the place. So I was cooking like some rotisserie chicken. And here's the other health food related point.
You try and get out, they'd be like wedged a broom handle.
He got a chair and wedged it against the door. Like, Final Destination. No, but the other point is, in a jacuzzi, you will always if you're in the jacuzzi and you don't want the bubbles on, there could be 10 of you in the jacuzzi you don't want the bubbles on. If one person gets in who wants the bubbles on, he supersedes all of you. He is ranked above all of you, and they can automatically turn the bubbles on.
Yeah, I agree, mate. Shouldn't the bubbles just be on all the time?
You're one of those guys. You're one of those guys.
Yeah.
No, because I was sat there with Alec having a sauna and a jacuzzi, and this guy sits in there, and we were just sat. It was basically like having a hot bath together, no bubbles on. Yeah. And he goes, mate, just behind you, there's a button. Do you want to just press it? It turns the bubbles on. And I was like, obviously in a very weak fashion, did exactly what was asked of me. Turned around and pressed it, and I was like, I'm getting out. I don't like makes this chlorine go in my eyes. And I was like, do you honestly think I don't know that button turns the bubbles on?
Yeah. So okay.
You should ask.
Yeah, that you should, rather than approaching it like that. I would have personally said, oh, mate, do you mind if we put the bubbles on? Is that cool? Is that better?
So you would always put the bubbles on in the jacuzzi?
Well, no, I wouldn't always. Yeah, I just feel like, jacuzzi should have the bubbles on, right? That's the whole purpose of it. If you want a warm bath, have a warm bath.
But then
But at the same time, if you get in and people are in there without the bubbles, I would always say, are we all right to put the bubbles on?
People can't do it. But that's the thing. You would like. I prefer being in there without the bubbles on. I think it's just like a nice warm bath.
Interesting.
But then it's sort of people forget themselves in help. But I was like thinking about it because I was like sitting next to the thing and I was like wiping the stuff and putting it on the coals like that. And it was quite a full sauna.
Yeah.
And I was thinking maybe people don't like the fact that my sweat's vaporizing and that's what's heating the room. And I was like, I better stop doing that.
Yeah.
But I was like, then you don't realise these little things you're doing which might be pissing people off, you know?
Yeah. I think spitting on the floor.
No, well, that's what I was thinking. Could you not wait? Could you not wait till you're in the shower? It was like, this is weird. Next minute he's spitting on the floor.
Have you seen him after or before?
No. Then he spat, and then about 20 seconds later, he was like, cheers then, mate, I'll leave you to it. So she spitted up the floor, made it unbearably hot, and then left.
Right, let's get into it. UFC. Should we do predictions?
Yeah, I want Jorge to, and this will probably get aired after the fact.
Yeah.
But whatever happens, speaking from beyond the fight,
yeah,
I wanted Jorge to win.
Yeah.
But I think Colby is going to win, unfortunately. And I don't know, because the press conference, if anyone wants to see an example of what two 14-year-old brothers looks like having an argument, watch the Colby Covington Jorge Masvidal press conference.
Yeah, it's painful.
They just end up calling each other a bitch,
yeah,
and taking the piss out of each other's voice, basically.
Yeah, it's hard to watch, mate. Because I really.
Yeah, where do you stand on the fight, though?
So I'm the same with you. My heart says Masvidal, my head says Colby. Unfortunately, and then with the co-main, it's Dos Santos. No,
Dos Santos versus Fiziev pulled out.
Someone pulled out. I think so. It's probably Dos Santos who's going to walk that, right? And then it's Bryce.
Marcano. He's called Marcano.
I don't think I've ever seen him fight, or if I did, yeah. I have. I haven't known it. And then Bryce and the guy with the killer, absolute
Edson
killer,
Barbosa,
which will be a really interesting fight because it's the classic striker versus wrestler, really good up-and-coming wrestler, never lost, versus one of the most explosive strikers in the UFC.
I think wrestlers normally win. That seems to be the pattern that emerges.
Yeah,
very rarely do strikers come out. That seems to be which is what I think what danger is with Jorge and fighting Colby.
Yeah,
is I think Colby, I think it'd be really good early in the fight if he could just stuff a couple of takedowns.
Well, he has got amazing takedown defense. To be fair to him, Jorge, he's got like really good because he stands really upright, and he's almost got that like Muay Thai bouncy leg stance. But he does have a history of really good takedown defense. And then with Bryce and Edson, I completely agree with you. But the thing with Barbosa, he's so explosive. Like he could easily, what was it, the Chris Weidman fight where it was like the jumping knee as he went in for the takedown?
No, that was Yoel Romero.
Was it? Yoel Romero versus Weidman, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So it could be like that sort of scenario. You could see that play out, and you'd think if you're going into a fight and someone that explosive, you're gonna have that in the back of your head. Like if I go in for a takedown, not at the right time, I could be eating a knee.
Well, like Curtis Blades and Derek Lewis.
I can't remember.
When Curtis Blades went to take him down, he uppercutted him and he was like frozen on the floor.
Yeah.
I always find that's actually quite weird that there's Derek Lewis and Tai Tuivasa have basically made they don't really have. They're not wrestlers, are they? their background is just kind of slugging. Like,
Yeah.
And it's strange that that's a base, but a fairly successful base for mixed martial arts.
Yeah, well, it's a weird one, isn't it? Because that's heavyweight. It seems to be a bit of a trend at heavyweight that you just get people that come through who are just good at kind of like scrapping.
Yeah, and chinning people.
Yeah.
And don't. But then I suppose Ngannou, the thing he has on his side, because he is that bloke. The thing he has on his side is he's just a complete freak of nature.
Yeah, freak of an athlete. But you got, like, even going back in the day, like, remember Big Country Nelson, like people like that. Yeah. Just pure fight. Remember watching him in the Ultimate Fighter house.
When he fought Kimbo.
And he was just like lying on people.
Just sit on people, just like really lightly, just like punching them in the top of their head.
Yeah.
He wasn't very entertaining, was he? And he was quite an unappealing guy. Like Dana White really didn't like him.
Yeah, Dana really didn't like him.
When he was like proper, he got proper big headed, didn't he? Because he won that season, the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah, I think he did.
He had Brendan Schaub in it as well.
Oh,
season 10, I think, is when Rampage Jackson kicked that door down.
I need to rewatch it, man. I used to love all that stuff.
And they're the guy they called him Titties.
You've got really good memory for this sort of stuff, or maybe I just got really
Fighter,
bad.
because Bisping was on it, wasn't he?
Well, I remember I watched loads of it back in the day, but I can't remember the details.
It's kind of become a little bit I think when something gets done too much, it can become a little bit. Which is why seasons, I think that they stop at the right time is what the Matrix should have done.
Yeah, should have. R.I.P. The Matrix. We're at 55. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah, should we wrap it up? Yeah, sounds good.
Do you want to do your plug?
Just my Insta.
Yes.
Yeah, Harry.Williams 91. Not too much happening, to be fair, at the minute. Just sort of
ticking over. Maybe now you're back on the rugby scene. Maybe a couple of posts might happen. Sometime.
Yeah.
Mine's Ape_Nutrition on Instagram. If you've got any questions for me, hit me up there. apenutrition.co.uk is the website. Discount code AS10 for podcast listeners. We got beef organ capsules, loads of other stuff. We got oyster capsules coming out in the next couple of weeks. Have a look.
Oyster zinc.
Yeah, really good source of zinc.
Do you reckon it's better than taking zinc?
So it's like quite complicated, but there's it's kind of the similar situation with phosphorus and calcium with the bone capsule, where they come in a pair that the body needs. It's the same with zinc and copper, and oysters give those in the right ratio for the body. So I haven't looked into zinc and copper as much as I have phosphorus and calcium, but I think it's much better to get it from a food source.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. I was thinking that's a strange thing. Do you think there's a weird relationship, a weird kind of synergy between humans and horses?
What? Because we like pair quite well.
No, because I was thinking. Sorry, we've wrapped up, but we've got one more thing to talk about here. Humans and so, because my girlfriend's dad has race horses and stuff.
Yeah.
She really likes horses. She asked me the other day, I was watching on TV, I was like, do you like horses? And I was like, they're all right, like they're not. I do quite like them. They're beautiful. I accept they're beautiful, but I don't trust them.
Yeah.
And they're always like so nervous about everything. Like you see like cows don't seem to have the same level of nerves.
No.
But I was thinking like, why didn't people back in the day like learn to ride cows? Because it seems like they'd be a better option. But horses.
Yeah, a lot faster.
Humans ride horses, and it's almost as if they were made to be ridden by humans.
Mate, so I'll tell you this, right? I've ridden a horse.
I've ridden a horse.
Before I rode the horse, I thought the same way, and after I rode the horse, I think it's such a cool experience. I loved it.
So do you think? But it's almost like they were like it does. If you want to talk about, it feels like they were, and it seems like they like getting ridden by humans.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like you said, they can almost be a bit nervous, but then once you get on them and you're riding them around, it's like it just.
Yeah, but the thing is that you would never ride a cow or a bull.
No,
but you could ride a stallion.
Yeah.
But why is that?
It'd be interesting. I've never seen. Surely you could ride a
or
cow,
ride a
right?
pig. Could you ride a pig?
If it was big enough, I guess.
Well, they're massive pigs.
Seen that monkey riding a pig quite famously. It's probably got about 10
is that
billion
10
YouTube
jillion
videos.
views.
It's the most viewed
is
video
that real?
on YouTube. Yeah, I think so, yeah.
A monkey riding a pig?
You've never watched the video?
I heard about it on Peep Show. I thought it was a joke.
No, it's legit. It's on... so it's like a little tiny monkey... pig, sorry. And a little tiny monkey. Little tiny...
A pygmy monkey and a pygmy pig.
No, it's either a baby pig...
Pot belly.
I don't know. It's just a little pig. And it's a little baby monkey. And the monkey just climbs on it backwards. So it's like, facing
the arse end
off its arse. Yeah, it's like looking at where its arse is, and it just clings on, and the pig's just running round like,
Oh right, so it's not like a fully grown bonobo riding like a big pig with the.
It's babies.
Oh right, okay.
Baby pig, baby monkey.
But what I mean is, do you think that horses, we've bred them for so long, you can sit on them fine? Do you think if we'd have done the same with cows and pigs, we could have ridden them? Because cows seem inherently calmer than horses.
Yeah, but they're obviously a lot sort of slower. And maybe they don't take instruction, man. That's the thing, isn't it? Like the horses they do what the rider tells them to.
What about like a big wolf? Because like no, because dogs take instruction, you know what I mean? But we'd never think to ride a big dog.
Yeah, well, I don't think like even the biggest dogs, right?
You can get dogs. Caucasian shepherds are massive.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know, mate. This is out of my realm of expertise.
We need Canine Harkin.
Yeah, we need to get K. We'll put this question to him when we get him back on. Right.
Yeah. The oyster capsules.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys.
Yeah. Cheers. Yeah. Thanks for listening.
Nice one.
See you soon.